It's January 20th, 2000.
No, it's not.
Wait, it's the 30th.
Yes.
Oh, geez.
How'd you miss 10 days there, Andrew?
Well, that's probably how long you've been gone in whatchamacallit.
Oh, good try. I left Friday night gosh, what was that? I think I left Friday the 20th.
Yeah, there you go.
But it was a weekend, so yeah, okay.
A long 10-day weekend.
Yeah.
Saw your pictures on the Instagram.
Yeah. I tell you what, it was great. Great skiing over in Italy, and great camaraderie with exchanges from all over. The only exchanges that aren't represented there, really, Andrew, are South America and Asia. And that's not because they're not invited. I'll try to spread the word next year for the 50th anniversary of the Interbourse. But we had, I think, 30 exchanges represented there, all across Europe, Canada, the United States. It was a phenomenal event, and it was so much fun. So much fun.
And yeah, it looked like you guys are actually racing. That wasn't just for fun, was it? That was a real race.
Real race. Yeah, several. In fact, there is a dual slalom that runs at night on the second night of Interbourse. Then there is a guest race, which, as the name implies, it's for guests of Interbourse. If you're going to race in the regular team event, you cannot race in the guest race. And then there's a team event where you have 5 racers qualify. I think 17 exchanges fielded teams in the race this year. And we were not the last, but we certainly weren't the first. We did well, and we had a fun time. But my gosh, the racers from Germany, as in Frankfurt and Munich,
Shocker.
They're great.
Shocker.
Austrian exchange racers are great. French racers, London racers, but the top team, Calgary, up in Canada, again.
It's in their blood.
I think they've won 3 of the last 4, and they are awesome.
Some people just like snow. That's their thing.
Well, and you have to like ice, too, because to be a race, most of these people that win are FIS, meaning that they raced on, if not Olympic team, World Cup teams. I certainly didn't. But I love to race, and it's fun. But I don't kid myself when I see these guys, 6'3", 175, 80 pounds in a one-piece suit versus our team. I kind of know which way the fulcrum is going to swing, Andrew.
All right. So you had your fun. Now you're back.
I'm back.
Now what are we doing?
Well, today we already had a good trade on a down day. We saw CRM, which is Salesforce.com.
Okay. That's been on the podcast, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, January 11th, we talked about it when the stock was 74. It ran to, I think, 80, pulled back, and today was down to 77, but still obviously $3 higher than January 11th. But the calls that were trading for 92 cents back then out in March, the 85s, got up to $1.25 today. And then they sold off hard with the market as it sold off on the immigration freeze for 90 days from these 7 countries. And global markets, they were all due for a little bit of a pullback. Our market, German market, French market, Italian market, you name it. But this 1% pullback doesn't seem to be startling anyone. Volatility moved up to 1250 or so, 1260, I think, in the VIX. But it was down at 1050, 1060 just last week. Is it surprising to see it make a move like this? No. But anyway, we bought CRM today, Andrew, at as the stock fell back down to 77, and the calls, we were able to buy them for under $1.10. Now at mid-session, they're back through $1.50. So, that's a nice trade.
Now, what started this whole podcast today, when I said, come on, let's fire up the podcast machine, because we have a podcast machine here.
Just like some people have a Google machine, we have a podcast
machine. I said, come on, let's fire it up, because we started talking about American Airlines, because you pulled up AAL and was it Delta, DAL, and we looked at it. I think AAL or American Airlines is down 5%. Delta's down like 2
or something. Yeah,
3.
Okay.
And we came up with an idea. So
yeah,
let's hear it.
It's always about tying in the news of the day to see if it's justified. So, for instance, if somebody misses on earnings and they lower guidance 10%, is it shocking when the stock falls by 10% or so? No. They just lowered guidance by 10%. So, depending how you model it, you're going to see a pretty good sell-off in that stock, absent any other information. Same thing here, Andrew. We're looking for stocks that extend too far to the upside or that pull back too far to the downside. And I would posit, which if you didn't go to a good school, this is like a theory.
Okay.
And my theory, my posit here, Andrew, is that
POSIT.
There you go. I think the sell-off is too harsh, in particular in American. And here's my reasoning.
Okay.
220,000 people fly on American every day.
Full disclaimer, you're one of them that flies every week.
Every week.
So you're an airline. You know American Airlines.
I do. And about the same number on Delta, about the same number on United, 3 biggest domestic carriers. They're all hit today because of this ban, 7 nations, that if you are traveling from those 7 nations to the United States, you would find yourself blocked, at least until and unless a judge decides to change that. The president signed an executive order last week to protect America. He said, we are going to vet people from these 7 countries. Now, that doesn't mean blocked forever.
About 90 days.
Yeah,
I think
90 days. We're going to do that. And then, assuming they pass the vetting process, welcome to come in. Okay. So over the weekend, Saturday, 109 people were detained that were on that 7-country list. Again, this is not religious, although the 7 countries do happen to be predominantly Muslim. But they also happen to have predominantly ties to terrorism. We know this. President Obama said this. President Bush, President Clinton. Doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. There's plenty of folks that have identified that these are problem folks in these countries. Does that mean everybody there is a terrorist? No. That's why you vet them. Vetting means you investigate where these people have been. Don't forget that the Tsarnaev brothers that did the Boston Marathon bombing had traveled to countries on this blocked list. So
yeah.
I think President Obama is a smart enough man to know that there are some bad players out there.
Bad hombres, I think.
That mean to do us harm. And he created the 7-country list along with his national security team. Okay. President Trump got that list, said, I'm going to vet people from this area. It includes countries like Syria, Iraq, Iran, things like that. Okay. Well, Somalia, it makes sense. If that's where the terrorists are coming from, let's vet them. Anyway, back to the trade.
Yeah, let's make money because
the trade
you can make money off of this mayhem.
You could, I think, because you have a 5% sell-off in American.
Okay, let's price target.
Just looking at that one.
It's $44.32. It's down $2.63. That's AAL, American Airlines.
And these 109 people that were blocked, Andrew, were blocked before they knew that the president had signed this executive order. Now that people know, I would imagine most of them will not be trying to travel from these 7 countries or through those 7 countries at this time. They might have to wait 90 days to do it. Okay.
So your posit is
that 5% sell-off is too much, because if out of 220,000 people that travel every day on American, 109 were blocked and they didn't even know that they would be blocked from these 7 countries, I think that American and United and Delta will recover just fine. Now, if prices of gasoline, jet fuel go higher, that's a draw against them. You know, that's going to be wind in their face, if you will. But I think based on all the rest of today's news, this ban is not going to affect those airlines to the extent that people have sold them off harshly today. So I will be trying to buy dips here and putting on call spreads in those airlines.
So taking a little bit of 30,000. What's the plane hover at? 35,000?
Yeah, when we go to New York, we're usually around 37,000 feet
Okay,
or so.
so a 37,000 view of American Airlines. It looks like it just about touched 50 before this all came out. And I'm looking at a chart of this thing. I'm describing this. You can pull up a chart on your own. The symbol's AAL. And it looks like it's pulled down to 44. So there's like a $6.
Yeah, so $6 on a $40 stock, folks. I'm pretty sure most of you out there can do the math. Let's say it's somewhere,
all right,
12%, 13% under.
You're an option guy. What strike will you be doing?
I would buy the 45s
You're
and
looking
sell
at 45s.
$2 probably higher strike up.
How far
Take
would you go
a limited risk trade. I'd give myself till at least the February expiration, not weeklies, or I would push it out to March. Give yourself a little time.
All right, let's go March. March 17.
So
March 2017, you got the 45 calls trading $1.88, let's say.
So they're trading $1.88. If you bought them naked, as we say, uncovered, then you have $1.88 or $188 because every option's for 100 shares.
And you got single strikes all the way up to 50, so it's not one of those options.
So let's sell maybe, the 48s against it, Andrew. If I buy the
that's
45,
85 cents. You can sell.
Okay, so I'm in for $1.
Okay.
Basically,
$1
I
trade.
own one for $1.80. I sell the other one for $80. I'm in for $1, which means $100. If the stock by March is higher than 46, I make money. The most I can lose is $1 or $100 because every option's for 100 shares. So what I'm looking to do, Andrew, is say, okay, I'm in. If it falls to 50 cents, I'll cut it. In other words, if I lose half, I'll cut it. But I like my odds.
And you don't feel dirty doing this trade?
Heck no.
Because of all the strife and all the people holding up signs at the airport. Doesn't that make you feel dirty?
No. Doesn't.
You're profiting off of people's misery in American Airlines.
Yep. I'm profiting off of
people's stupidity for selling it.
That stock further than it should be sold based on 109 people that would be blocked.
All right.
And again, not all of those are at any of those one airlines, Andrew.
Okay, so I'm going to do a stock trade on this. I'm going to probably do half.
All right.
Because it pays a nice little dividend. I don't mind owning American Airlines because I just took them to D.C. for the inauguration. And the plane was packed.
Yeah.
I mean,
every plane I'm on is packed.
You go on the plane every week. Is it packed every week?
Packed. And by the way, I did fly in, Andrew, on Saturday and got right through immigration on Saturday despite the ban. I wonder why. Well, my passport says USA on it. That's one of the reasons.
You got one of those.
And I didn't travel through one of those 7 countries. Now, I feel bad for people that, are completely innocent, moving across the world as we hope to all move at some point in the future. But right now, with terrorism being as big and bad as it is, and again, Tsarnaev brothers in Boston, for those of you who forgot, they killed and maimed a number of folks.
And I saw the guy with no legs.
And if you want to see the Mark Wahlberg movie on it, you can get that too.
Did you watch that on the plane?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I did not.
I don't even know if it's on the plane.
I didn't want to see it.
Well, by the way, what did you watch on the plane? Anything?
I watched a couple foreign films on the plane. I watched a movie about bank robberies in Spain that was fantastic. I did. I watched a couple of the Hobbit movies just because I hadn't seen them, and I was very impressed with Peter Jackson, the guy that was the genius behind turning that story by J.R.R. Tolkien
into. I love those international flights. It gives you like a license to just waste as much time as you can.
You're just sitting there for 7 or 8 hours. Those movies are like 3 hours a piece. You can kill a lot of time with that.
And do you have one of those GOES cards come back in?
I do. I have the global entry card.
Nice.
And I would say, Andrew, maybe by the time I hit the global entry terminal until I had claimed my bag, it was 2.5 minutes.
Sweet. So, I know. I love it when I come back in from out of the country with that stuff. It's like, hey, slaves, wait in line. People always ask me, why am I calling people slaves? You're like waiting in line and doing I don't know. I went down to the customs office like you did and got our global entry.
Worth it. It's a one-time $100 fee, and global entry also gets you TSA pre-clear, which means you're a known customer, and you can get through security faster too.
As they say, membership has its privileges. And speaking of memberships, we can't talk about this.
$100 for 5 years, folks.
Wait a second. We can't talk about this till next week. About memberships.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Memberships.
Jeez.
We'll talk about you guys getting an opportunity to see the Heat Seeker in all its glory and our trades as we're doing them trade by trade.
So we're not allowed to talk about that till next week.
All right. We'll talk about it Monday then.
But I think you already know if you've listened to this podcast.
Thanks for joining us, folks. Remember, you can sign up for the podcast and get every one. You can also subscribe on YouTube and give us some likes on either of those. We'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Pressure's taking its toll, stuck in the middle zone.